For years, older Americans have been given the same simple advice. Just keep walking, doctors mention it. Morning shows repeat it. Fitness apps count your steps like they're a magic number. And if you're over 65, you've probably heard it so often that it feels like common sense. Walk every day, stay healthy, avoid problems. But here's a question most people never stop to ask. If walking were truly enough, why do so many active seniors still fall, lose strength, or struggle to get out of a chair? Every week across the United States, emergency rooms fill with older adults who walked every day, yet slipped in the kitchen, stumbled on a curb, or couldn't catch themselves in time. These are not lazy people. Many of them were disciplined, consistent, and proud of their daily steps. And still, something failed. The uncomfortable truth is this: aging doesn't just take endurance. It quietly steals muscle, balance, reaction speed, and stability, often without warning. And walking, while helpful, doesn't train many of those systems deeply enough. Think about real life for a moment. You don't fall while walking calmly on a flat sidewalk. You fall when you turn quickly, reach for something, step sideways, or lose balance for just a split second. That moment decides everything, and that moment has very little to do with step count. So the real question becomes, are you training your body for movement or for survival? After decades of working with older adults, watching some remain independent into their 80s while others decline rapidly, one pattern becomes impossible to ignore. The seniors who age best aren't just the ones who move more. They're the ones who move differently. And that's where today's conversation truly begins. To understand why walking alone often falls short after 65, we need to talk honestly about what aging really does to the body. Not in theory, but in everyday American life. After retirement, routines change. People sit longer. Driving replaces walking to stores. Time with grandchildren often means sitting on the couch, not running in the yard. Even active seniors unknowingly lose one critical thing year after year: muscle strength and neuromuscular control. This loss doesn't happen suddenly, it creeps in quietly. By the late 60s and early 70s, the body begins to lose muscle faster than it can rebuild it. This process is called age-related muscle decline, and it affects everyone to some degree. The problem is that many people don't feel it right away. You can still walk the dog, still grocery shop, still move through the day. So it's easy to believe everything is fine. But underneath the surface, important systems are weakening. The muscles that help you stand up, catch yourself, or stabilize on one leg begin to shrink. The nerves that tell your brain where your feet are in space send weaker signals. Reaction time slows just enough that when something unexpected happens, a loose rug, a curb, a wet floor, the body can't respond fast enough. This is why falls are so common after 70, even among people who appear active. Walking mainly trains endurance. It moves the body forward in a straight line, at a predictable pace, on familiar ground. But real life doesn't work that way. Daily life requires stepping sideways, turning suddenly, standing up from low chairs, reaching overhead, and balancing on one leg, often while distracted. Those who are most at risk are not only people who avoid movement. Ironically, many are disciplined walkers who believe walking covers all their needs. They trust what they've been told for years and never realize what's missing until something goes wrong. And when it does, the consequences are serious. A single fall can lead to broken hips, loss of independence, or months of recovery. For many families, it's the moment life changes, from living freely to relying on help. The good news is this: these declines are not inevitable, but they require the right kind of training that walking alone does not provide. And that brings us to the core of this discussion. To truly understand why so many older adults struggle despite staying active, we need to look at how the body actually changes with age. Not just what people feel, but what's happening underneath the skin. After the age of 65, the body begins to lose muscle at a faster rate than it can replace it. This loss isn't dramatic at first. You don't wake up one morning feeling weak. Instead, it shows up in subtle ways. Standing up takes a little more effort. Stairs feel steeper than they used to. You hesitate before stepping off a curb. You start using your hands to push off a chair without even thinking about it. This gradual decline is why so many people underestimate the problem. Walking still feels manageable, so it creates a false sense of security. but walking primarily uses a limited set of muscles in a repetitive forward motion. It does very little to challenge balance, side-to-side control, or the fast muscle responses that protect you when something unexpected happens. One of the earliest warning signs is difficulty standing on one leg, even briefly. Many people notice this while getting dressed or stepping into the shower. Another sign is needing to hold onto furniture when turning quickly or walking on uneven ground. These are not just balance issues. They are signals that the communication between muscles and the nervous system is weakening. As this continues, the body loses what doctors call reserve capacity. That's the extra strength and reaction ability you rely on in emergencies. When you're younger, you have more than you need, so small losses don't matter. But after 70, those reserves shrink. When something goes wrong, there's no backup. This is where the biggest misconception appears. Many people believe falls happen because of clumsiness or bad luck. In reality, most falls happen because the body can't generate force quickly enough to correct a mistake. The foot slips, the body tilts, and the muscles simply don't respond in time. Walking does not train this rapid response. It's steady, predictable, and slow. Life is not. Consider a common real-life scenario. An older adult is walking through a grocery store parking lot. A car backs out unexpectedly. They turn quickly to step aside. That sudden shift requires hip strength, core stability, and fast muscle activation. If those systems haven't been trained, the body freezes or moves too slowly. Another example happens at home. Reaching up to a high shelf, stepping over a threshold, or turning while carrying laundry. These moments demand balance on one leg, strong hips, and coordinated muscle firing. None of these are meaningfully trained by walking alone. Over time, this gap grows wider. The person can still walk for 30 minutes, but can't recover from a stumble. They feel confident outdoors, but unsteady indoors. They avoid social events because they're afraid of falling in crowded places. Confidence fades, and activity drops even further. This is how independence quietly slips away. Not because people stopped moving, but because they were moving in only one way. There's also a difference between early and advanced decline. Early on, the signs are subtle: slower movements, occasional instability, fatigue after standing. At advanced stages, the consequences are severe: repeated falls, reliance on grab bars, difficulty getting out of cars or chairs, and fear-based inactivity. Once fear sets in, people move less. Muscles weaken faster, balance declines further. This creates a downward spiral that is extremely difficult to reverse. The most tragic part is that many older adults believe this decline is normal and unavoidable. They blame age itself instead of understanding that the body adapts to what it's trained to do. If the body is never asked to balance on one leg, it forgets how. If it's never asked to generate force quickly, that ability disappears. There are also common mistakes that accelerate this decline. One is avoiding strength work out of fear of injury. Another is believing that light movement is always safer than targeted effort. In reality, carefully chosen exercises can be safer than walking because they are controlled, intentional, and designed to protect joints. Another misconception is focusing only on large muscles while ignoring stabilizers. Strong legs don't help much if the hips, ankles, and core can't coordinate. Balance is not a single skill. It's a system. And systems fail when one part is neglected. In contrast, when the right movements are introduced, the body responds, even later in life. The nervous system remains adaptable. Muscles can regain strength. Balance can improve. Reaction time can be trained. The difference between before and after is often dramatic. Before, standing feels uncertain. After, it feels grounded. Before, movements are cautious. After, they're confident. Before, daily life feels risky. After, it feels manageable again. This is not about becoming athletic. It's about restoring the abilities that make everyday life safe. And that leads us to the most important question of all. What can actually be done, safely and realistically, after 65 to protect independence and prevent falls? That's where the right solutions matter most, and where we turn next. The most reassuring truth about aging well is this: you do not need extreme workouts, expensive equipment, or complicated routines to protect your body after 65. What you need is the right combination of daily habits that support strength, balance, and recovery. First, physical activity must go beyond walking. Walking is still valuable for circulation, heart health, and mental clarity, but it should be treated as a foundation, not a complete solution. To protect independence, the body needs regular challenges that train balance, leg strength, and coordination. Short, focused exercises that require standing on one leg, rising from a chair, or engaging muscles without movement can be done safely at home. Even 10–15 minutes a day can make a meaningful difference when the movements are purposeful. Second, daily lifestyle habits matter more than people realize. Long periods of sitting weaken muscles rapidly. Breaking up sitting time, standing during TV commercials, moving around the house between tasks, or doing light balance work while brushing teeth keeps muscles and nerves active. These small actions, repeated daily, protect mobility far better than one long walk alone. Nutrition also plays a quiet but critical role. As people age, appetite often decreases, but protein needs do not. Adequate protein helps preserve muscle and supports recovery from activity. Balanced meals with protein, vegetables, healthy fats, and sufficient hydration give the body what it needs to respond to movement. There is no miracle supplement that replaces this foundation. Sleep and recovery are equally important. Poor sleep affects balance, reaction time, and strength. Establishing a consistent sleep schedule, limiting late-night screen time, and allowing the body time to recover between activity sessions helps prevent fatigue-related falls. Finally, it's important to know when to seek medical guidance. Persistent pain, sudden weakness, dizziness, or repeated falls should never be ignored. A healthcare professional can help identify underlying issues and guide safe progression. Prevention works best when it starts early, not after an injury. The goal is not to stop aging, but to age with confidence. With the right habits, the body can remain capable, responsive, and reliable well into later decades of life. And that brings us to the final step: pulling everything together and deciding what action to take next. Aging does not take strength away overnight. It happens slowly, quietly, and often without warning. The good news is that the same is true for rebuilding what has been lost. Small, consistent actions, done daily, can protect balance, strength, and independence far longer than most people believe. Walking remains a wonderful habit, and it should absolutely stay part of your routine. But walking alone leaves important gaps. Balance, reaction time, and the ability to recover from sudden movements need specific attention. When those systems are trained, everyday life feels safer. Standing up becomes easier. Turning feels more stable. Confidence returns. You don't need to do everything at once. Start with one small change, one movement, one habit. Progress grows from consistency, not intensity. Even a few minutes a day can change how your body responds months from now. Your future self, the one who moves freely, stands confidently, and lives independently, depends on the choices you make today. Now we'd love to hear from you. Which part of this topic spoke to you the most? Have you noticed changes in balance, strength, or confidence as you've gotten older? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story may help someone else realize they're not alone, and that improvement is still possible. Thank you for spending this time with us. Take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. 100 Senses. An elderly American man in his early 70s, slowly tying his shoes in a quiet suburban bedroom. Morning sunlight through the window, calm and reflective mood. A senior woman walking alone on a sidewalk in a small American town, steady pace but cautious posture, autumn leaves on the ground. An older couple sitting at a breakfast table, discussing their day, the man rubbing his knee slightly, subtle sign of stiffness. A senior man pushing himself up from a low couch using his hands, showing mild difficulty, living room with family photos. An elderly woman standing in her kitchen, reaching for a mug on a high shelf, slight imbalance visible. A quiet suburban street at dawn, an older man walking his dog, empty road, peaceful but solitary. A senior woman stepping off a curb slowly, concentrating on balance, parked cars nearby. An elderly man standing at a pharmacy counter, leaning slightly on the edge for support. A close-up of worn hands gripping a shopping cart handle in a grocery store aisle. An older woman hesitating before climbing a short flight of stairs at home. A senior man standing in the shower, holding onto a grab bar, steam filling the bathroom. An elderly woman sitting alone on a park bench, watching younger people walk past. A senior man brushing his teeth while standing on one leg, focusing intently, bathroom mirror reflection. An older couple walking through a crowded farmer's market, careful steps, alert expressions. A senior woman standing in line at a coffee shop, shifting weight between feet. An elderly man rising from a dining chair slowly after a family meal. A quiet living room scene with an older woman stretching gently beside a window. A senior man standing near a wall, practicing balance with one foot slightly lifted. An elderly woman concentrating while walking heel to toe along her hallway. A close-up of an older man's feet, carefully placing heel to toe on a wooden floor. A senior woman holding onto a kitchen counter while performing slow chair squats. An elderly man practicing standing hip circles next to a sturdy chair. A calm morning scene of a senior woman performing balance exercises in her bedroom. An older man pushing against a wall with both hands, focused expression, controlled breathing. A senior woman performing an isometric wall push in her living room. An elderly couple exercising together quietly at home, supportive atmosphere. A senior man standing on one leg near a window, sunlight casting long shadows. An elderly woman closing her eyes briefly while balancing on one foot. A close-up of a senior man's concentrated face during balance training. An older woman practicing balance while holding a folded towel under one foot. A senior man regaining confidence, standing taller after regular exercises. An elderly woman walking confidently through her home without holding furniture. A senior man climbing stairs with improved posture and stability. An older couple laughing softly while exercising together. A senior woman standing up from a chair smoothly, no hands used. An elderly man stepping confidently over a doorway threshold. A quiet kitchen scene where an older woman moves confidently while cooking. A senior man carrying laundry steadily down a hallway. An elderly woman reaching overhead without hesitation. A senior man walking outdoors with a more upright posture. An older woman confidently navigating a crowded sidewalk. A senior man standing at a bus stop without leaning. An elderly woman smiling while balancing effortlessly. A senior man playing gently with a grandchild on the floor. An older woman standing securely while gardening. A senior man stepping aside quickly and safely in a parking lot. An elderly woman turning her head while walking without losing balance. A senior man confidently standing on one leg while waiting for coffee. An older woman performing balance exercises during a TV commercial break. A senior man standing tall while talking with neighbors. An elderly woman walking through her home at night with steady steps. A senior man practicing balance near a window during sunset. An older woman smiling at her reflection after exercise. A senior man calmly navigating uneven pavement. An elderly woman standing in a library aisle, reaching for a book. A senior man standing confidently at a family gathering. An older woman walking with purpose through a grocery store. A senior man moving freely without fear of falling. An elderly woman standing upright while cooking dinner. A senior man stepping confidently onto a porch. An older woman walking briskly but safely through a park. A senior man maintaining balance while turning quickly. An elderly woman standing steady on a soft rug. A senior man practicing balance while listening to music. An older woman confidently moving through her home alone. A senior man standing relaxed with hands at his sides. An elderly woman moving with calm assurance. A senior man enjoying morning sunlight while balancing. An older woman standing strong and composed. A senior man walking confidently toward the camera. An elderly woman standing tall, relaxed, and stable. A senior man smiling softly, confident in his movement. An older woman standing independently without support. A senior man moving freely in everyday life. An elderly woman balanced, calm, and confident. A senior man enjoying independence at home. An older woman standing steady and secure. A senior man confident, upright, and relaxed. An elderly woman moving with ease and assurance. A final scene of a senior standing alone, balanced, confident, and independent, warm light filling the room.